Hi, I'm Chad with Move Forward Guitar. This lesson is from our course, Beginner Course 1. This course will take you from an absolute beginner to a budding guitarist with a solid foundation. By the end of this course, you'll have all the tools you need to start learning songs. Along with the video lessons, this course includes a premium e-guide which contains detailed charts and diagrams for each lesson, as well as extra bonus tips and tricks. It's a great companion to the video lessons and will really accelerate your learning. To learn how to get your copy of this e-guide, as well as get in-depth guidance to help you practice the material in each lesson and much more, click the link on the screen. Welcome to Lesson 9. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you your first chord progression. So first off, I'll explain what a chord progression is. And a chord progression is two or more chords played in some sort of sequence that you usually loop over and over. And songs are made up of chord progressions. A lot of times there's multiple chord progressions within a song. For example, you'd have a chord progression for the verse, and then it would a lot of times change for the chorus, and then there might be another part of the song that changes again, or it could just be one chord progression through the whole song. And so if you've heard songs, which obviously you have, you know what chord progressions are because most songs have some sort of chord progression. And in this lesson, we're just going to do a really simple chord progression with the two chords that we just went over, the E minor and the A minor. And I'm just going to go to from E minor to A minor and then just loop that over and over so it'd sound like this. So you can see that those two chords sound really good together, and when you put those two together like I just did, you have a chord progression, which means you have a song. You could write a song with those two chords, and that's all you would need. And obviously there's lots of other chords that you can use that we'll learn in other series that songs contain, but starting with these two chords, you can make a song out of it. And the biggest hurdle to get over when you're first learning chord progressions is transitioning chords. And what that means is playing one chord and then quickly enough switching to the next chord without messing up your strumming, because at first you're going to play one chord and then you're going to have to think about it a long time, put one finger down at a time, and then play the next chord, and you're going to do that for quite a while before you're able to transition quickly like this. At first it would be more like something like that, and probably take you even longer when you're first starting out. And when you're first starting out, your fingers are going to fly all over the place. It's really hard to control them when you're first starting out because you haven't trained your hand not to do that. So you're going to play the one chord. When you go to transition the other chord, your fingers are going to fly way off of the fretboard and then go searching for those strings one at a time. And that's pretty natural when you're first starting out because you have to build the muscle memory and the muscle coordination. But your ultimate goal is to look like this. Play the one chord, lift just high enough above the strings so that you're not touching them anymore, and then try to put all your fingers down at the same time for that new chord. And that's going to take a long time to get good at. Every beginner struggles with that, so don't get frustrated as you're starting off. But that is the ultimate goal. And that's because when you're playing a song faster, you need to be able to switch your chords really fast. So the way you transition between these two chords, the first thing is that you're going to want to hold the E minor with your second and third finger. I told you early on that that's going to be important for a lesson down the road. It's important to learn it with your first and second finger as well for other transitions, but for this chord progression, it's important with your second and third finger. And the reason it's important to use your second and third fingers with the E minor going to the A minor is because you can see the E minor, when I switch to the A minor, keeps pretty much the same shape. These two fingers, my second and third finger, stay in the second fret and just go from the fifth and fourth string and drop down towards the floor to the fourth and third string. So those two fingers have an easy transition. If I was using my first and second finger, I'd have to go from this shape and then switch the direction my hand's going all the way to the A minor. So that's much tougher to do. There'll be cases, depending on what your other chords in a song are, that will be necessary, or a better transition, but for this song going from E minor to A minor, it's important to play it with your second and third finger, the E minor with your second and third finger. So what you want to do, play the E minor, and like I said, your goal is just to lift your two fingers off just high enough above those strings. You would keep them together because they're going to keep that same shape, so don't lift them off and then spread them out apart from each other, because then it's just going to be harder to find the A minor. Take them off, try to keep them together like mine are, and then just push them down to the A minor, and you're trying to get all three fingers down at the same time. Without doing something like, and then your fingers are flying off, and then you have to refine the A minor, and that'll take forever. But like I said, you're going to start off like that. It's almost impossible when you haven't built your muscles to do that. So over time, it'll be really easy to do it quickly and smoothly, but at first you're going to be looking for each note one at a time, and you're going to be struggling to keep your fingers from flying all over the place. So don't get frustrated that you have to do that at first. That's very normal, but over time you want it to be as quick and smooth as possible. Play the E minor, take your two fingers off just slightly above the strings, and put down all three fingers at the same time for the A minor. So that's your ultimate goal. But this will take you probably a long time. It'll take you a lot of practice to be able to do that. And it's okay for it not to be perfect before you move on from this series, this lesson, because it's something that you get over time. But that's what you're working towards. So if you're not there yet, if you've been doing it for a long time and you're not there yet, still practice and focus on getting to that point, because over time that's what you're going for, and that's what's going to help you the most while you're playing guitar and transitioning chords. So your first goal is just to play the E minor one strum, transition to the A minor, play one strum, and be able to do that fairly smoothly, something like that. That's going to take you a long time just to get that part down, or a lot of practice, I should say. Everyone takes a different amount of time to learn things on the guitar, but that will take a lot of practice no matter who you are. And how long it takes really just depends how much you practice usually. And then once you can do that, you want to do 4 strums per chord, so it would sound like this. And your whole goal is to get those strums consistent between each one. So you have 4 strums that are consistent, and then going to the next 4 is consistent in between. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, but I want that next one to be consistent like the other 4 were, and then have those next 4 consistent. So no matter what strum you're on, the space between the strums needs to be close to the same as the last strum and the next strum, so they should all be consistent. That's your ultimate goal, and that's going to be tough at first, especially when you're going from one chord to the next. That's when you're going to break up that strumming. That's because your hand's going to be taking time, your fretting hand, to try and find that new chord. So it's going to be hard at first, and it may sound like something like that, but over time you want that transition in between to be the same amount of time as the other strum. So it'd be like, so that there's no break in between any of your strums, and that you can keep your strumming hand just moving constantly. So that's going to take some time to get down as well. That is one of the hardest things to learn on guitar, is being able to transition chords quickly and smoothly and keep your strumming going. And then once you can do that with just 4 strums on each chord, just loop it, so then you're just repeating over and over. So and then just keep going as many times as you want to. And once you're able to do that, you've come a really long way in learning guitar, and you're set up to start learning songs and learning more chords, and you're not going to be hindered by much. You're going to have all the skills you need to start playing songs, start playing more chords, and do more with your strumming. So don't get frustrated if this takes you a long time to get down. It's a really hard step to get over on the guitar. It's one of the bigger steps, and once you get it down, everything else just gets easier and easier, and as you're learning new songs and new chords and transitions, they just get easier and easier over time. So congratulations, this is the last lesson in the course, and you've come a really long way if you've made it through this lesson and really taken the time, and you've learned everything you need to start making music on the guitar. We've come to the point where you're playing chords, making transitions, you're playing chord progressions, and once you're able to do that smoothly, you're playing songs, and now you can just keep building on this, and you're not going to be limited by anything on guitar. So you can move on to another course, which I recommend moving on to Beginner Course 2, where I'm going to teach you more chords, I'm going to teach you more with strumming and more transitions, and everything you need to be able to play countless songs or write your own. So thanks for learning with me, and keep moving forward. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like detailed guidance to help you practice material in this lesson, as well as grab your copy of the Premium e-guide, which includes detailed charts and diagrams for each lesson, as well as extra bonus tips and tricks, you can click the link on the screen.